Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tiah. Thank you so much for clicking to watch this video today, and I hope you watch the video to the end. It's going to be super fun because we're making this beautiful shawl here that is inspired by all the fall colors that I see everywhere. Just the fall colors are beautiful. Fall is my favorite season, and so you will see that I tend to do things that are my favorite season. And of course, this is why I decided to do this shawl here. Unfortunately, it's too big for me to show the whole thing on camera right now, but I will show you some pictures just now so you guys can see how it looks on me. But this is about 74 inches long, so it's quite big, and I wanted it to be like that. And I did about 34 rows altogether. The basic stitches that I used here are pretty much double crochet stitch in the back loop. I did some treble crochets here to create this little nice design in the middle here, and I did that on the other side as well. And of course, for the pockets here, pretty much just double crochet stitch in the back loop to create this waviness, this ribbed pattern. And just to kind of continue with the theme of the color scheme here, I did the burgundy reddish color in between the yellow as well, just like I did this one here. Okay, and of course, don't forget the tussles. I did all of this in the yellow or mustard color, and this is optional for you, so you don't have to do the tussles, but this is a pocketed shawl with tussles. So if you want to do the exact same thing, then you would probably want to do the tussles. So because this is a full project here that I have already completed, of course I'm going to show you how to do a sample of it, just so you understand what stitches I used here, how I did it. And then in your own free time and without having to sit down and watch a full video, you can crochet the whole shawl on your own at your spare time, in the evenings, on your lunch break at work. I don't know whenever time you crochet is, but you will be able to do that at any time, and you can create the size that you want. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the sample. Okay, all right, without talking too much, I want to go ahead and show you exactly what the materials used for this shawl were, and then you can go ahead and get everything ready so we can get started. Okay, let me show you what I used. Okay my lovelies, so excuse how ruggedy these packaging looks here, but these are my leftover yarn that I will be showing you how to do the sample for the shawl. But these are the leftovers, so please don't mind the fact that they just look like I collected them from the garbage. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and show you these two colors here. So I used about 3 and about and a half skeins of this one here, and that is out of the 272 yards, or I don't know how you see it, but there's 141 grams. It's 5 ounces, 31 meters, 252 yards. So however you do your calculation of that is, I used about 3.5 of this. Okay, so this yarn is from Craftsmart, value TM. And what else? This color is called mustard. Okay, and crochet hook size that is recommended is 5.5 crochet hook, and it's a medium number 4, 97% acrylic and 3% viscose. Okay, so that is this. And of course the dimensions are exactly the same in this, except this color is called Cranberry. Okay, so that is for yarn. Of course, again, you can choose whatever yarn you want. These just happen to be my favorite color for when I do fall stuff. For those of you who follow me on my channel, you will see that I did a scarf last fall using these exact same colors as well. Okay, now my crochet hook size is a 6mm crochet hook. It's a little bit bigger than what is recommended. That's just my preference. Of course, go ahead and follow the recommendation for the yarn. I crochet a little bit tight, so I tend to go a little bit higher on the crochet hook size. You need a scissors to cut your yarn at the end or your strands. You need a darning needle to put together your pocket, your pocket for your shawl. And of course, this is optional. I have my tape measure to see how big or long I want it. And in this case, like I said, I did about 72 or 74 inches long. Okay, so it's quite a big shawl. Okay, all right, so with all of that said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to get this project started, I'm going to show you guys how to do this first part here. So we're going to be doing these first 8 rows using the double crochet stitch in the back loop to create these waviness here, and then I will show you how to do the treble crochet pattern here, and then we'll go back to doing the double crochet stitch in the back, and then back to this treble crochet, and then finish it off with the same as this side here. I will not show you how to do the pockets because the pockets are just going to simply be creating a square of just the double crochet stitch in the back loop, and if you change your color, then that's all you need to do. And when you have the size you're looking for your pocket, just like I did here, it's about a square, then you will go ahead and join it to your shawl. The way I did it here was I just measured so that I have the size that will fit just in the red. So as you can see here, I just connected it to the red portion of the shawl only, and it doesn't go past that or this side. So that is all up to you. Okay, so let's go ahead so I can show you how to start this first part here. Okay, so for the sample size, you're going to do a chain of any number that you want. So obviously measure to see how many chains you need. For my actual size of the shawl here, I did 300 chains. Okay, so do any even numbers of the chain, and in this case here for my sample, I'm just going to do a chain of 40, and then I will go ahead and get it started. Okay, so we'll start off with a slip knot. For those of you who are not familiar with how to start, just in case you're a beginner, I do my slip knot like this. I just take my yarn, I wrap it around my thumb like this, like I'm about to tie my thumb. I pinch it here with my middle finger. I slide it off my thumb while I'm still holding it like that. I put my hook in the circle there. I yarn over, I put it through, and I let go of the space that I'm pinching, and I pull, and that's how I do my slip knot. Okay, and then we're going to do our chains, and in this case I'm going to do 40 chains. You're going to do the number that you require for your shawl. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's my chain of 40 here to do the sample for the shawl. Now that you have the length of the chain that you're looking for, and in your case it could be in the hundreds depending on how long your shawl needs to be. And now that we have that, I am going to turn my work like this. I'm going to skip these 2 stitches here. Okay, so this one here and this one. The one right where the hook is doesn't count as a stitch. Okay, so you skip these 2, and in this third one here, I'm going to do a double crochet stitch, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to move on to the next stitch, and I'm going to do a double crochet stitch, just like so. Then I'm going to move on to the next, and this is pretty much what you will do to the end of your chain. Okay, now I'm going to complete this and then come back and show you how to start row 2. So you can pause the video here. It may take you a lot longer if you have a chain that is in the hundreds. It will take me just a few minutes, so go ahead and pause the video here and then come back so I can show you how to start row 2. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my loves, so I have gone ahead and completed my double crochet stitches here. Okay, so you should have about 39 stitches if you're doing a sample, but in this case, if you're doing a full size that it's gonna fit you no matter the number of stitches that you started with. If it was an even number, then you should have an uneven number, so an odd number when you complete your first row. Okay, all right, and not that that matters at all, but I just want to make sure you're keeping your stitches straight and you're not missing some stitches or adding stitches. Okay, all right, so now that we have that, I'm going to show you how to start the second row. And just one thing, I do see that my focus is a little bit off here. I've tried to fix it a couple of times, it's not working, but I think it's clear enough that you guys can see what I'm doing, right? I hope so. Anyway, so after that, we're gonna start our second row. So I'm going to chain 2 and then turn my work. Okay, And then this is where we will start to work in the back loop of our work. So as you can see, we have these V shapes here, and we're going to be grabbing just the back of the V instead of both. Okay, so to start that, the very first stitch here right after the chain 2, we're going to yarn over and go into the back loop like that and do our double crochet. And then we're going to move on to the next one. Just grab the back loop only, and you're going to do your double crochet there. And this is pretty much the repeat row until you finish the number of rows that you require for this part here. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. You're gonna start to create this bump here that will make your work look really nice. But this is pretty much your repeat row, and you're gonna do this all the way to the end, which is right here. And what I do is for this very final stitch here, I go through both stitches instead of just the back loop. So instead of just picking this back loop like this, I usually go through both like this for my final stitch. Then you chain 2, turn and repeat. Okay, so I'm just going to show you quickly on the big completed work how that looks like. If I bring this guy back in here, I just showed you how to do this very first row here. And then you're going to do, if you're following exact pattern here, you're going to do 7 more. So this is 8, from here to here is 8 rows. So you're going to do 7 more because we just completed the first one. And then when you're done your 8th row, come back and I'll show you how to do this part here. Then how to connect the color or change the color and do the second color there. And then I'll have you guys pretty much repeat to the end because that's how simple this pattern is. I don't want to make things too complicated. I'm going to show you probably up to this row here where the red starts, and then I'm gonna let you guys do your own thing after that, because after that point you're just repeating it. Okay, so for now, go ahead and do the number of rows that you require for this color. Because I'm doing a sample, I'm going to do probably just about 4 to 6 rows of this, depending on how quick I can go. And then I'll come back to show you guys how to do the treble crochet part of the shawl before we change the color. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and done 6 rows of these yellow color here, or mustard color as I should say probably, but it is yellow to me. But anyways, that is 6 rows right there. So if I just bring in my work here just to show you guys what part I have completed here, it is just this part right here. And like I told you guys, I did 8 rows of this, so this is 8 rows right here, but in the sample I did only 6. Okay, now I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this part of it right here, and that's what we're doing right now. I apologize for the shaky camera there. I'm kicking things left and right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get the next row started. I just want to make a quick correction here. So I actually did talk earlier in the video about treble crochet being part that I do here. It's actually not treble crochet, it's just a regular double crochet. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I correct that. I don't know why I say treble. I think it's because I'm working on another project where I'm doing treble crochet, so that kind of just confused me with this one. Okay, so to start the next row here, which is just another double crochet but with spaces in between, we're going to do the regular, so just chain 2 as usual. Then we're going to turn our work. Okay, and then I'm going to skip this stitch right here, and in the next one here I'm going to do a double crochet, but I'm going to add one more chain here, which is going to be a chain 1. Okay, because this does count as a double crochet plus a chain. So I'm going to go into this stitch here and I'm going to do my double crochet. Okay, and I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip this stitch here. In the next stitch I'm going to do a double crochet, chain 1, skip this stitch here. In this stitch I'm going to do a double crochet, and so on and so forth. So go ahead and continue to do this pattern here until you get to the end. So for my sample, I'm going to get to the end here. For your actual shawl, you're going to have quite a lot to go before you get to the end. So go ahead and do that. You can pause the video here And when you get to the end, come back and I'll show you how to do the second row of this double crochet with spaces like that. Okay, so go ahead and do that and I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovely, so as you can see here, this is the end of that, like that. And again, because we had an odd number, it does allow us to make sure we have enough stitches to be able to do this double crochet with a space in between like that. And I think if we had an even number, it would probably end up leaving a stitch on the end. So that is also another reason why we did that. Okay, all right, so to start the second row of this double crochet with gaps here, we're going to start again by doing chain of 2, turn our work. We're going to add one more chain, which is our chain 1 in between the stitches. And again, we're going to skip this, and on top of the previous double crochet here, we're going to do a double crochet just like that. Then chain 1, and on top of the previous double crochet, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1. And as you guys see, you kind of get what I'm doing here. On the previous double crochet stitch, we do a double crochet on top of it, chain 1, and then you just again continue to do this until you get to the end. And your end could be much longer than mine, but of course that's okay. So go ahead and do that when you get to the end here. And as you can see, that's pretty much that separation here. I'm going to bring in my work, and that is that part here. Okay, so this is that part right here, and we're going to go ahead and finish this to the end. When you get to the end, we're going to be changing our color to the burgundy one so we can continue to do the double crochet stitches like this. Okay, so but I'll meet you when you get to this end here so we can change the color together. See you guys in a bit. Okay, my love, so I have gone ahead and completed the second row of these double crochet with the spaces in between to create that kind of meshy design there. Now I came back before I completed the final one because as you see, there is that chain 3 that we did to start that previous row. So I'm just going to do a chain 1, and then we're going to skip the first stitch here, so the 4th stitch, and in the 3rd stitch, that's where we're going to do our double crochet stitch, just like that. Okay, so that's how it should look at the end, and this is how it looks like on at this beginning like that. Okay, so that is pretty much the end of that. So I'm going to show you guys how to start the burgundy color. And since I am just doing a sample, I'm not gonna cut my yarn. I'm just gonna connect it to the work and then show you how to do the red color, and then I'll pretty much have you guys repeat that until you finish your shawl, because this is gonna be repeated from this point on. There's no new stitches for you to learn how to do. That's pretty much gonna be it, and I'm gonna bring my big shawl in to explain that in just a second here. But for now, to change the color, so let's say I was going to cut this yarn off. Right now I'm not cutting it, it's still connected to my yarn, to my skein. But if I was to cut it off, I would cut it off somewhere here, and then I would undo this part here, the final part of our double crochet, so that we have 2 loops on the hook like that. I will bring the color I'm changing to, and I'll have it ready to go, and I'll just yarn over and pull it through like that. Okay, so then I'll pull this color like that. So that's how I would connect my color here. And then for me to start my double crochets, I'll just go back and do 1, 2, which is my chain 2, turn my work, and right here, this is where we're going to go back to doing the double crochet stitches. And to do that, I'm just going to go right into this stitch right here and do my double crochet just between where I did my chain 1. Okay, like that. And then right on top of the previous double crochet stitch, I'm going to do a double crochet stitch there, and then in the big gap I'm going to do a double crochet in the gap, and then on top of the previous double crochet stitch I will do a double crochet in the chain 1 gap, a double crochet on top of the previous double crochet, a double crochet. So this is how it should look like. Okay, so as you can see, there is in the gap on top, in the gap on top, and you're going to continue these all the way. Your last one should be where you skip the chain 4, the 4th chain, and then put your double crochet right there. So go ahead and complete it to the end. When you get to this end here, come back and I'll show you how to start the second row of this red color, and then I'll let you guys pretty much work on your shawl until you have it completed. Okay, so I'll see you guys at the end of this row. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed this burgundy color here. So as you can see for my sample, that's pretty much how it should look so far. Okay, and make sure you count your stitches here. You should have 39 stitches because we're going to continue to keep these as consistent as possible. So if you have less, then you did something wrong somewhere. If you have more, you added something somewhere. And just as a quick word here as well, so when you do your last double crochet in the last double crochet stitch on top of the last double crochet stitch, you do one in the gap just like this, and then you do one in the chain on the chain 3 section of the previous double crochet stitch, okay, or the previous chain that we did. This is the chain 4 that we did. We're going 1, 2, and then the third one we do our double crochet there, and that's how it should look like, and thus it matches this side here. Okay, all right, so to go ahead and start our next row, for that we're going to do a chain 2. We're going to turn our work, and this is where we go back to working in the back of the stitches. So we're just going to go ahead and yarn over, and in the very next stitch right after the chain 2, we're going to do our double crochet in the back loop just like that. Then move on to the next, do our double crochet stitch in the back loop, and then in the next, and so on and so forth. And we're going to pretty much do this until you have the number of rows that you want for this color. Okay, so I'm going to not show you guys everything from this point on, so I'm just gonna bring my work into the frame here in a second so I can show you what the repeats are, so that you can go ahead and pretty much build your shawl up to the end. Okay, because what you do after this is just pretty much repeat what we have done here so far. Okay, so I'll just stop here, and don't forget, when you get to the very last stitch here, you go in these 2 stitches right here like this instead of just the back of the stitch. Okay, so let me just bring my work into the frame here so I can show you what we're repeating. Okay, so this is my full shawl here. So I just showed you guys how to do these a few parts here. So again, if you're doing the exact same size that I'm doing, I did 8 rows of these back loop double crochet stitches. Then I did 2 rows of these double crochet stitches with a gap in, with a chain 1 in between and skipping a stitch. And then for this section here, I did 12 rows. Okay, so there's 12 rows of this color, and so far I just finished showing you this first one here and some of the second one. That is what I did right here. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and change your color back to the mustard one or the yellow one, and repeat these 2 double crochet stitches with a chain 1 and skipping a gap. When you complete the 2, you go back and you start doing your remaining 8 rows of the double crochet in the back loop. Okay, so that's all you need to do. So go ahead and continue to do that, and when you're done, if you want your shawl to have pockets like mine, these guys here, so I did 30 chains, and then from that 30 I built up 1, 2, 3, I built up 6 rows of the mustard color in the back loop. Then I did 2 rows of this burgundy color, and then I did 6 more rows of these mustard color again. So all together I have 14 rows here, and that was because I wanted that to match or to be the exact same size as the middle burgundy color, so that when I sew it on, it doesn't go overlap on this side or on the other side. Okay, so and then when we're done with our pockets, I apologize for the shakiness there. Then when we're done with our pockets there, then we can do our tassels. So as you can see here, these are the tassels that I did for the shawl, and I just did 10 inches of this yarn. So I did about 10 inches, which is quite long, and then when you loop it into this section here, it cuts that size into a half, and that is how long your tassels are. You could do them longer or shorter if you want, but this is how long my tassels are. So that's pretty much it. So go ahead and do all of that, and when you're done pretty much putting your pockets on, sewing your pockets on and putting your tassels on, you're done. For those of you who doesn't know how to do the sewing that I did here, go back to some of my videos, especially where I did sweaters, where I needed to connect different panels, or even the last pocket shawl that I did. I showed you guys how to sew in the actual pocket. So go ahead and do that. I know I'm not showing you guys in this video, but they're very simple. So you just use your darning needle that I showed you earlier to go ahead and connect all of your pockets, the 2 pockets that you're making, and that's what I call the darning needle here. Okay, and then when you're done that, your work is completed. Okay, all right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is pretty much the work here. I will show you all the pictures that I've taken with this beautiful shawl, and I hope you guys enjoyed making this with me. So thank you so much again for joining me in this project and for making this beautiful shawl with me. And before I forget, I appreciate your support. For those of you who are new and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. That will really help me to see how many people are actually appreciating what I'm doing. And of course, don't forget to comment, like, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of future videos. And again, thank you so much for your support as usual. Love you guys lots, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Kwaheri.